Welcome to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate. I'm your host, Dean Harris. As always, I'm with Douglas Skipworth. How are you, buddy?
Hey, man, doing great.
We're bringing you this podcast to give you the boots on the ground knowledge to be a successful real estate investor here in Memphis, Tennessee. Please like and subscribe to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate on your YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, wherever you want to catch your podcast. Show sponsors are listed on your screen below. We would not be able to do this show or run our personal rental businesses without these great team of guys we have on our vendor partner list and the show sponsors: Triumph Construction, River City Title, Corland Financial, CrestCore Property Management, and Will Griffin with Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer. I help buyers and sellers every day. If you guys have any questions, Dean@CrestCore.com. Shoot me an email. And if you listened to last week's podcast, you caught the buyer profile link podcast. So I will send you that and get you set up, Dean@CrestCore.com. Today, we're going to jump right in. Douglas, how do you use the holiday time frame as a real estate investor to improve your business? Is there anything that comes to mind for you? I'm just going to, since we just have really a bunch of questions here, what's the first thing you do during the holiday season? Is there something specific you go to when things slow down? Yeah,
that's good. I think the couple of things I think of immediately is like preparing for next, especially towards the end of the year, preparing for next year.
Yeah.
Thinking about what I need to wrap up this year, what I need to plan for next year. Mm-hmm. Also, one thing I do is schedule some meetings or phone calls or Zooms, lunches with bankers, property managers, real estate agents, get on the horn with them, talking about the year, talking about the plan for the future, and then looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
Always looking for, because it's when things slow, that's when the cat's away, the mice will play a little bit. There's a lot of cats that are away.
Yeah. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing by even saying this, but the first thing I do is look for deals.
There you go.
I just know for a fact that most of you guys and gals listening, that gals is a Southern term for females.
There you go. That's what I say.
Yeah, guys and gals. So most of you guys and gals are professionals in your own right, and you have families sometimes, and this is the season that you celebrate those things, and you take time off and spend time with your family and take time away from your job. Well earned. And I tend to do a little bit of the opposite. I start when I put my investor hat on. My real estate agent hat kind of stays the same, right?
Yeah.
But when I put my investor hat on during this time of year, I buckle down and start to look. Tax purposes, tax reasons are one, because maybe I need to buy a few to offset some income. And then there's the deals. There's so many people. Hey, I want to sell for the end of the year. I need to get out. Or for whatever their reason might be. And then also because investors are taking that time out.
Less people.
I mean, less competition. You're still going to get some, but I'm trying to get 2 or 3 in December. That's a lot. I don't typically buy that many in a month, but I'm trying to end the year pretty strong going into next year. The second thing, I ask is do you educate yourself by reading a book or listening to a podcast? How dare you listen to any other podcasts other than this one? But do you listen to real estate podcasts? Do you, are there videos? I mean, YouTube is full. Our YouTube channel and page has got 3 years worth of darn videos on it. So there's videos and things that's my question. Do you challenge yourself in an education department where maybe you're slowing down from buying, sitting around the house? There's, it's the holiday time. Do you read a good book or, those kinds of things would be a suggestion and a question to yourself.
Man, I read 4 books over Thanksgiving break.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You're a reader.
But I'm a reader. That's what I do. So, yes, absolutely,
That's
man.
Massive.
That's such a good time.
God, have I read 4 books ever? I might have.
Oh, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, you do. That's good. So educate videos, like you said. And again, I go back to meetings, whether that's with peer investors or bankers. Mm-hmm. Real estate agents, property managers, contractors, meet with them, talk to them. They have deals. Like you said, somebody's trying to get rid of something before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Just falls in your lap.
Yeah.
So I had a friend from church was like, hey, I know somebody that needs some help. Okay, we'll help him. Didn't work for me, passed it on, got it sold, worked great for everybody.
That's right. What about do you learn a new product? Do you look at a new product or a new area, new location? That was kind of my notes here. New zip code. Me personally, I don't look at new products. Some do. Some come in and they say, hey, did I buy because I have some investors that buy multifamily, single family, land and all kind. They want to diversify, and that's great. So maybe it's, at the end of the year, is this still the product for you? Did this work? That's kind of the famous, did this work? That's probably the title of a podcast ending the year.
Yeah.
Did this work?
We talk, it's like, how are you going to evaluate? You got to sit, when you start out, you got to figure out, how are you going to evaluate short-term, long-term, and kind of in-between periods of something was working or not.
That's right.
You got to be. You can't manage what you don't measure.
No.
So anyway,
absolutely. What about expanding your coverage area? That's going to be real popular here soon. And I mean, we got Brownsville, Tennessee coming up here when we've got the Buckies and the EV Fords, building all their EV trucks.
And even West Memphis Marion is like, 10 years ago that was tough. And then they redid Southland Casino, and that place has changed.
It has
and
changed.
Now they're putting the Buc-ee's in. It's going to change some more. So to your point, and always expanding your both, I think, kind of growing wider and deeper.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
Without jumping, I'd like to do stuff that's contiguous, not just jumping over here to something totally random that doesn't make any sense with what I'm currently doing.
Right.
So,
and I just think, settling in and understanding what you've been doing, what you could be doing, and what you might be doing is a good thing in idle time. I mean, it's just you're putting thought, and a lot of people don't put a lot of credit into that. That's working on your business. And I don't think enough investors actually work on their business as much as they should versus finding the next hot deal, right?
Yeah, that's good.
We're working with some other folks and we're talking about working on your business and working, it's not all about necessarily collecting rent and putting a tenant in there, right? We're not buying houses and just collecting rent. There are other ways that you can work on your business, and helping yourself with knowledge of other markets within a market, other products within your product, or within your area or whatever, to me is just another level of expertise that I think is needed, and that you can add to your repertoire of things.
Yeah,
that
it's the time to do it, like you said, whether it's binging or diving deep on podcasts.
Yeah,
doing some bigger pockets. That's a good place to get some knowledge and rub shoulders with people and get some stuff. So I'm all about it, man.
Yeah, some people do nothing. That was one of my notes. It's like, to me, I think doing nothing this time of year, if you're a solid investor, is you're taking about 3 steps back. Because, and here's why. If you don't buy, fine. If you don't educate, okay. Then what are you doing? You're just literally going backwards. Because although everyone else is moving forward a little slower during this time, why would you not use this time to move really fast? I mean, make up create that gap between you and the next guy. Because and the reason why I put that on there is I talked to 2 investors, they're brothers, and I talked to them last week, and I was like, hey guys, I was writing the notes, and they called for this podcast. So I asked them, hey, what's your plan? Oh, Dean, not much. I go, no, after the 15th, or the 10th, when things really start to slow down, like, what are you guys going to do, for your business? And these guys own 25, 26 houses. Well, not much, Dean. We're just going to sit tight. And I thought to myself, I did tell them what I was doing, and they thought, they took some suggestions, but their first reaction was nothing. Yeah. So it made me really hone in on this podcast today, and I wanted to encourage everyone to do something.
Well, and I think that there's a quote, something to the effect of, there are people who have to survive, and there are people who have to thrive. Yeah. And I don't know why, but the Lord made me as somebody who's got to thrive. I cannot sit around and do nothing. Yeah. And I know people like that, can love them, but it's like we're encouraging, like if you're an investor and you're watching this, the challenge in a good way is, hey, use this opportunity, the separation season. We've talked about it, where you can separate yourself, just like you were talking about that, of like even separating yourself from your old self. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be from the competition. It can be from, hey, I'm going to, like you said, expand my own business knowledge.
Your education, your knowledge, your just whatever you have, you're working on your business. Yeah. Wrapping it up, one of the things that I do, or some of the things that I do, is like, we talk about what do you do, but I mentioned earlier that I'm trying to buy during this time, right? So I'm trying to take advantage that some of you guys and gals are not in the swimming pool swimming. So I'm going to jump in there and try to swim. One of the other things I do is kind of look ahead into Q1. I don't typically buy in January. Most of the time, not in February, unless something just comes up that I just need to buy it. So I use that time going into those months as a little bit of a kind of a looking ahead at what's going to happen in this Q1 from an investor standpoint and a sales agent standpoint. And then I kind of do a nurturing of my portfolio. Any rehab needs to be done. How does, how's the condition of this old house that I knew about? I knew I had something to do back here. I just go through those things and begin to mentally get prepared for, okay, it looks like on this house this year, I'm going to have X, Y, Z.
Yep.
So, I try to give myself, there's the other part about working on your business. Don't be so dang reactionary, right? Like, hey, you have a roof out. Oh, I had no idea. Okay, so what this prevents is, hey, Dean, you got a roof going out. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. I had that coming. I'm not quite ready to replace it just yet. Let's put another $150 patch job on there, and in the summer when it happens again, I'm gonna just replace it. Yep. You can get an idea of your CapEx expenditures coming throughout the year. You can plan a little bit better than just being so reactionary. If you go to your 4 houses and you got 4 bad roofs and you notice it, then you know this year's going to be a rough year. Yeah. You might one now and start staggering that and have a plan. So that is the main thing that I do sink my teeth into. This year specifically, if you look at the calendar, the last 2 weeks of the year are going to be tough. If you own a business
right, yeah.
and you have employees and they come to work for you every day, the last 2 weeks of the year are going to struggle. The holiday falls right in the middle.
Thanksgiving and New Year's Day are both
They're on
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Yeah. So it's like Tuesdays and Thursdays, people are going to be kind of checked out. So you got Monday and Friday of 2 different weeks where you hope to get a whole lot of stuff done. So I am going to, during that week, begin to look at what I just said. I'm looking at all of my houses. I'm looking at the rehab I did this year, right? Then I eliminate those. So then I break it down into what's left, and I'll set aside a time where maybe I'll go visit 7 or 8 of them at a time. I have they're kind of in pockets, and I'll just go start looking exterior, what needs to be done. Send out some of my guys to the others, and just get some pictures and get a good detail of every one of my houses and where they look right now. Right, to get that general picture of what 2025 is going to look like. Yeah. So there's my main focus at the end of the year, and just kind of how I, as a real estate investor, how I use that time to buckle down and try to buy a few, and then just to basically I'm reevaluating the portfolio.
Yeah. You're just you're getting better, just a little bit better every day.
That's all I'm trying to do. You're just
showing up and doing what it is you need to do.
Yeah.
Every day, so that at the end of the year, you say, man, I'm twice as good as I was this time last year.
Yeah. And I tell you, that's what you're talking about right now is super important. And a colleague of ours has brought that up. And it's like, if you can just get a little bit better each month, you're going to look up and you can have that wherewithal to stick it out. At the end of a year, at the end of 2 years, can you imagine how much better you're going to be than right now?
Yeah.
You're not going to jump and be a better investor or a better person or a better whatever that you're trying to be better. This is a real estate investment show, but it ain't going to all happen overnight in most cases. But if you'll stay consistent and try to get yourself better, try to improve your houses, try to improve your banking, try to improve your whatever you have within your investment world you're trying to improve over a period of time, and it isn't 2 months. It might be 2 years, but you're going to look up and look back and go, wow. I'll say this. One of the things that we do when we first started here years ago working together was our kind of our goals we had every quarter. And, I know you've saved those. And it's amazing to go back and look at 2015 or 16 when we'd start and to look at what our goals were. And to look at what we were trying to accomplish in those first months compared to what we have right now. Do that with your investment goals. Put your investment goals and break them down into quarters, right? Okay, I'm not buying anything this quarter. So what are you going to do? Sit there and collect a rent check? No. Go through these things that we've just talked about and educate yourself and make yourself a better real estate. Being a better real estate investor doesn't always mean buying more houses and owning more houses than the other guy.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's maybe the takeaway here. Being an awesome, successful, good real estate investor doesn't necessarily mean you own the most properties. Okay? It really doesn't. So, I'd encourage everybody, just keep working on your craft, keep working on your business, keep trying to push all those things forward. And then, over a period of time here, I know you'll see the results. Anything else?
Yeah. And I'll say, and with this, it's like, hey, we're twice as good as we were this time last year. But only half as good as we're going to be this time next year.
That's exactly right, and I that's great, and I love you and Alec is our producer here and has helped us a lot with this podcast. We were talking before this, and we've come a long way in what this podcast has been.
Hey, that's a great point.
And all we've tried to do when we do this is come on and give you guys a little bit better show than we did last week. and our producer Alec is trying to get a few more followers and a little bit more attention as we go. But we've quadrupled in some on some of the socials. We've we have one of our things had almost 3 million views. So none of that ever would have been possible. We only did this in the very beginning to kind of provide information for clients, but it's turned into something.
Well, I think about the Zip Code
different.
podcast. If you go back, like you mentioned a few weeks ago, if you go back and look at the one 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can just see the gradual progression, how we've added more, we've gotten more, the graphics are better, the data's better.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely look.
It's continued
we
to
look
push
a little
it
better. Look a little thinner.
Yeah, I look a little old. My hair's
I looked on the
back.
podcast a few years ago. I was like, whew, man, we're going to delete those. No. But the one reason I like them, though, is we've stayed consistent.
Yes.
You hear me say the same things about some of these areas that you did 4 years ago and 5 years ago than you're hearing now. You've seen our pricing go up if you watch that. But my point is we've tried to get incrementally better on this podcast to provide something better for you. And you can go back and look at it. We do our businesses, run our businesses that way, and we're encouraging you to do the same.
Amen.
Guys, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate you. We've got another 2 podcasts before the year's end, so we're looking forward to that. Dean at CrestCore.com if you want that buyer profile link to you, sent to you. See you next time.